good morning. You're watching In the Office with Mike and Bray. By now, we ought to be very awake because you got up early.
Yeah.
I kind of got up early. Kids went back to school today. Mine do because they're in different schools.
Yeah.
Oxford City. I was very happy about that
Oh yeah.
because I like the morning times with them in the car.
Yeah.
I like that time. It's fun.
You still go by and get them donuts on Friday?
Yeah.
Even
we
when
do.
they're in school?
Sometimes I'll give them some on Thursday too. That depends on
Your
my strength. Yeah, I mean, if you did this as a dad and you can't deny it, it'd be like, I'm gonna reward my kids with pizza when really you wanted pizza. That's okay.
Robin, when we lived in the pastoral right here,
Yeah.
the boys and her had what they called pizza night
Okay.
every Friday.
Nice.
It was pizza night. Man, they were double first cousins with Domino's. Domino's was right down there for a while.
Double first cousins. You used it again.
And,
You're working that in a lot lately.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, because it just means tight, man.
Yeah, you're tight. That's
But
good.
she reminded me that other day. That there was you go down and rent a video.
Oh yeah, there was a movie. I don't know, was it Movie Gallery or
Yeah,
something?
something like
Yeah.
And she would, let's see how she did it. She would drop them off at the video place.
Blockbuster maybe.
Whatever.
Yeah, one of the two.
And then she would go get the pizza, which was within eyesight there, and then she'd
Yeah.
come back and they'd have their stuff picked out. Games.
Yeah, that's right.
So those were good years, man. Those were good years. And I probably ate a piece or two.
See, that's the point. Is you get to bless your kids sometimes under the guise of you blessing yourself, and that's okay. You went to work.
Okay.
That's your money. After you tithe, that's your money.
Next week, next Sunday, I'm still on the subject of prayer, and I'm on right in there Matthew 7 this week. Where Sunday I was on Matthew 6.
Yep.
Well, Matthew 7 is the asking, seeking, knocking, and Luke's narrative of that, and Luke even throws in. Matthew says, if your child asks for some bread,
Yeah.
you're not going to give them a stone.
Right.
If they ask for some fish, you're not going to give them a snake.
Right.
Thank you. But anyway, well, Luke throws in egg. If they ask for an egg, you're not going to give them a scorpion.
Yeah.
So, there and just, man, this morning I got here early and I began to just, I'm going over and over my thought, plus reading a lot. And I'm like, this is amazing right here. I mean, Jesus, for years I'd read that, ask, seek, knock. That's basically the same thing, right? But to me, it's every when you say ask, you got something specific. Now, whether is something good or not, as you grow in the Lord, whatever you ask for gets more mature all the time. In my opinion.
Probably. Yeah.
And then seeking, that's a deeper word, because it's not just asking. Now you're in it more.
You get involved in that process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you seeking means you're looking for something. And then to knock, it takes patience, but reverence too. He didn't say beat the door down. He didn't say kick it.
Yeah.
He didn't say scream
Right.
through it. It's just a man. And Jesus don't use words just to say something. He's not like the average preacher.
Right. He didn't
He don't have a filler.
He's not trying to put a word in there that sounds clever. There's a real heartfelt meaning behind each one.
But I said all that because you brought up pizza, I guess. But
that's good, and you're going to be preaching it next Sunday. But between now and then, just to kind of give the updates of things, is it fair to say there's always a lot going on?
I can't speak. This is the only church I've ever pastored. If I have my way, it'll be the only one ever. All right. So here, I assume it's this way everywhere. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I assume it is listening to other pastors. But one of I call it strategies that I've always had. But see, here's the thing. God's blessed me with a church that it's not, I don't say how to say it. Strategy's wonderful if it works.
Sure.
And so it don't work everywhere. I mean, it's up to the people
Mm-hmm.
that you hope are growing up along with you.
Right, you've long known that God put you in this church because the way that He's worked some of these strategies out, it fit. You fit the church fit you.
I guess. I hope. I mean, on my side, looking this way, I'm great with it.
Yeah. Well,
But,
you're
I
still
mean,
here, so
yeah.
you
It's
know.
like me when I say, Rob and I have a great marriage, or at least I
At least from
enjoy
your
it.
perspective.
I don't know if she does or not, but anyway.
Yeah.
But one of the strategies has been, and it would work on me if I was in the pew,
Mm-hmm.
would be keep something going.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, because I got a feeling if you don't like change, then you probably don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say change, I don't mean like, you know what I mean by change. It's
I've been around you long enough to know that they're not unnecessary.
I try not to. But stuff like for instance, the building, this building we're sitting in was built in 06.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, it's attached to a building that was built in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
It was a product. We built it because the other building burnt to the ground.
Right.
Well, we converted the old sanctuary, we call it, to preschool and children, and then we outgrew that. We had to move our children Sunday school to the old T, I call it, the old wing, the T wing, the education wing, we call it. We moved them upstairs. But now we spent, some time and money on the old sanctuary because we had to put a hall, and we put new carpet and paint.
Right.
Redid the old where the baptistry was. It's a puppet thing now anyway. It's all different. But back in the back, we've painted paneling. We're still painting paneling, and now we're about to carpet the whole back part of the education. Most of our Sunday school is actually in that building.
Yes.
There'll be about 200, 210 in there when we're healthy.
Right.
Just in that one tube right there.
Yeah, it's such an important piece of our
Yes.
our puzzle here.
And so we're now, it's, the building had burnt to the ground. We had X amount that the insurance company was going to give us. We didn't have another dime. That's just, I know I was a deacon. I know what I'm talking about. And we actually built the whole building back for the insurance money.
That's impressive.
Because a lot of volunteers,
Mm-hmm.
and, let's just get honest, it's like a heavy duty household building.
Sure.
Is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why when you go upstairs, the floors creak a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to modernize it some,
Right.
changing the way the steps look, trying to make it look more commercial, new carpet. We've done a lot, for the students, got more to do.
Definitely.
Put new lights upstairs, make it brighter all through it.
Yes.
We're going to tear out the paneling in all 4 bathrooms. Start with downstairs and put sheetrock and new fixtures and new petitions.
Right. Right.
So, it's a 30-year-old building now,
Mm-hmm.
but we're about to spend some money on it
Right.
and modernize it best we can.
Yes.
And because the bulk of our Sunday school is still in there.
How much ministry that's been done in that building in 30 years just blows your mind. And then, you have families that have, grown up in the church, and now their kids are going, right through these same halls, and you want to do it again. You want to modernize it, and let's do it again.
And I've always been against ghost towns.
Yeah.
In churches, if you can help it. You
Sure.
can't help it when a lot of people leave the community and industry leaves. That's one thing.
Understood.
It's hard to fight that battle. But if you got bodies and you got a building, try not to have a bunch of junk rooms.
Yeah.
It's depressing. So,
And there's certain things that work to your advantage, and we're pretty transparent about a lot of things. It's not a lot of secrets here, but it's like, hey, there were a lot more classes in the T at one time. We've made bigger classes because just the structure of our church, you needed the more space, and definitely now with the current climate, you're kind of glad that you went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. Combining these, say, 2 really small class, and they were small.
Yes,
they were small. Period. You can't. and now they're a decent size.
Yeah. We've been doing that now, stretched out over several years, and we're down to 2 more walls.
And even in the brick house.
Yes.
I mean, opening that up to make one really good classroom out there, it's great.
They love it.
But that's just one of many things that have been going on, and again, it's a strategy that people want to see some life. You know, the people that get excited, that bring their friends. When you come in on a Wednesday night, and then you go from paneling to nice painted walls, you know, or you refresh a classroom for a class that's been meeting for 15 years in that room, and then there's a certain level of appreciation of just working your way around the church and kind of just keeping some life in it that way.
It's been, you know, again, the church, you know, I'm the type of person that I like to do that kind of thing, but the church has allowed that.
Yes.
And responded. See,
yes.
If church doesn't respond by inviting guests, and the church doesn't respond by giving, you're done.
Your project days are slimmer.
You can wish all you want, but thankfully through nearly 25 years, we've been able to do that. And this future building is just really about spreading out.
Yes.
It's not. It'll open up, you know, a total of 10 classrooms. So you're moving your preschool and your children to a new building. They have nice worship areas and classrooms themselves, but then we get to redo about 6 in the preschool for adults, and that leaves about 4 more empty in the OT.
Maybe for college and career.
Oh, you got a lot of people that would like.
But there's other. I mean, again, there's a lot of options. That's
and
what you want.
It will not create ghost town.
Exactly.
It won't, because you're only. Yes, it's very expensive to add what we're adding. It don't matter what you do today; it's very expensive. But it'll put us more in line, small group wise, with our worship center.
And that's been your argument since I've been here, is that you've made most of the strategical changes in efforts to make your Sunday school match your worship center capacity, and that's you know, at the 80% rule. So you're not asking for something that just seems out of left field. You're trying to say, hey, when we built the sanctuary, it was a little larger, and then we thought we may have needed at the time, and now we're just trying to, since that's working out good now, let's bring this up and make it, you know, complement.
It's going to be perfect when it's ever done. I mean, it's, you know, now because of the, you know, the virus, and it takes forever to get an answer from certain entities about, you know, sewage and all that stuff. So even if it had been a virus, we still couldn't have started it because of those things. But it's the same thing when we built this, and it just takes a while, and we'll get there, and maybe the timing will be perfect when it's all said and done.
Probably will be. There's some other things also, like, you know, with you know, very generous, you know, people at our church really improving the north side of our campus and all that land over there, you know, having it to drain properly, the access road, the area for the future pavilion to go up. You know, there's little things that can happen in the meantime, like you said, putting up the fence again, and we have some playground equipment that's been built that's very sturdy. What'd you say yesterday? What'd you say about?
You could pull a car motor with it.
And you could. That's not an exaggeration.
No.
We're not going to, but it'll hold up our little kids.
It'll be there, you know, it'll be there literally when the Lord comes back.
I'm pretty sure those other swings that are still in use,
built them.
So he's proven that he can do it.
Oh my goodness. And they do look, you know, you definitely, if I was going to pull a motor, I'd ask you permission. I'd pull up there and he would even help. I mean, he's a great mechanic. He's a phenomenal guy. But, you know, getting that going, and people, if I were in the pew right now, I'd want my pastor to be very hopeful.
Exactly.
And not just right now, by the way. I mean, I would want him to live a life full of hope.
Yes.
And that's what I've tried to do. Even though I'm, you know, I'm on the grumpy bend. I've been that way most of my life, I guess, but it works for me. But anyway, well, that's how you get, pizza without black olives, by being grumpy.
Well, yeah, I like it. Negotiations are great.
Well,
You said a good thing, and this is something, again, that I appreciate, and I'm pretty sure the people that are, in my stage of life with children appreciate is, when you bring your kids to church, you want to have an optimistic take of the future. You don't want to raise I'm sorry, I can't say, you do not want to raise your children in constant pessimism.
No.
I'm sure that that's a failed strategy. Now, there's probably one or two tough stones that comes out of that, but overall, raising your kids in constant pessimism can't be good for them. And you do specifically a good job of encouraging young families in that right, and thanking them for coming. When you see, a family, walking in with their kids, you're good to thank them, and it's good.
I don't know who she was, to my shame, Sunday, but a lady came in with a baby. I say a baby. 1.5 maybe.
Okay.
I think the baby's walking, so probably 1.5. Anyway, 1.5. Anyway, during the time of a sermon, that especially during this time, we encourage them, bring them in there with you.
Sure.
We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're here, till you get, till you are convinced that what we're doing is safe.
Yeah.
Just do whatever you got to do to get here.
Absolutely.
Anyway, at some point during the sermon, I saw her take the child out, but I could see, because we leave our doors open now for ventilation,
Mm-hmm.
I could see in the hall that the mom sat in the hall on the floor with her baby,
Wow.
so she could see
Yes.
the rest of the service.
Love
And
it.
after the service, I go up to her and I thank her for that.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Well, I hope we did." I said, "Let me tell you something. We love that kind of racket.
Yes, we do.
I wish I had racket like that in all sections of the church.
Absolutely.
Today, because you give up on your children's ministries, student ministries, college ministry,
Mm-hmm.
career. You might as well just. That's a graveyard waiting to happen right there. And this virus is no friend.
Mm-hmm.
To that, but we're going to bounce back fine. We already see it,
Mm-hmm.
and just know it when you start back. Not this week, but next. It gives us hope. We already see a fairly large number of children coming back, and
Yes.
It's going to be fine.
And another, of course, not to single out any group, but there's just a group of young, they'd still be single probably, starting to work and in college, kind of that mix. You see a bunch of solid young people, and that really encourages, because you look around, you're like, they're influential, they're faithful, they got a good spirit about them. You just like to see when you look out and you're preaching, and I know you look at those types of things, seeing that spread of people, but not having a huge gap in that area, definitely gives you some encouragement.
We're going to, once we get upstairs to finish, we're going to build them I'm going to call it a suite.
Yeah.
Something similar to what we did for you up there for
Right.
the students, but they deserve it.
Yes.
And they've hung in there I'm going to say the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's just been a good number of them, and like
Yes.
you said, I think a lot of it has to do with you, because your style of ministry, because you teach them that we expect a lot out of them.
Yes, so many of them were serving before they graduated and are on the stage on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Maybe
what would we
they're
do,
integral.
instrument-wise and singing and a lot of other things without them. So
Yes.
they serve, they on rotation, a lot of them in the back,
Mm-hmm.
children's worship, preschool, nursery.
Yes.
To me, that's the Christian life, is knowing that you had very little to do, probably nothing. It's a free gift.
Yes.
But so knowing that it's eternal, you're in a covenant.
Yes.
All the skin you put in it was faith. Okay. Well, so you constantly are so fired up about the removal of the penalty of sin that you know you deserve that
Of course.
penalty and God's wrath, but it's gone. And so living a life of thankfulness and finding out how you're wired, do your deal, and be thankful that you're even able to do your deal.
Yes.
I mean, just do it. You know, get good at it. Be the best you can be at whatever that is, and be grateful that the God of heaven allows you to have a part of somebody else expressing their faith in the work of the cross.
Absolutely.
That's, if you can get them doing that. I talked to a great friend of mine, Brad, that used to be on our staff. He's a pastor up in Hazel Green. And what he's was talking about things and how you're leading through this thing, and he said it, he said it just like it is. He said, if we get them in love with Jesus, we don't have to worry about bouncing back, and we don't have to worry about funding what we need to do.
Yeah.
People are going, if they love Jesus, they'll be back.
That's right.
And they'll continue to give what they can give, and
that's right.
And he's exactly right. We can talk a good talk and everything else, but if we get our people to grow up in Jesus, you don't have to manipulate them or beg them or guilt them or shame them. They just do things, and they finance the work of the ministry. It's bottom line. I don't know what else to say. It's not really that complicated. I've just been blessed with a good church, and like I said, I feel for people that have not, or maybe I don't know, but we've been blessed, and we just seem like we just keep meeting and good people, and they and they just kind of they go along with what we're doing, because we shoot them straight, but here's where we think we're headed and why. And like I told somebody today, it can be borderline boring, I guess, but for me it's exciting because it's practical.
Yeah.
And it's constant. Like you said, there's something going on all the time.
That's exactly right. One thing that I think helps you, and I try to take this, is you don't overpromise and underdeliver. You just kind of say, this is what we hope for. We're hopeful for it. We've seen God do X amount of ministry. We want to do more of that, and God's been faithful to give us what, sometimes a little more than we can handle, but certainly, He's just been faithful to continue to supply us with something to do.
That's something else in my coming sermon, is that Jesus does not quantify when He says, if you being evil, sinful, are good to your kids, how much more?
Yes.
Your Heavenly Father. Well, He doesn't tell you. He don't go ahead and tell you how much more. That's His business.
That's right.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, and I think though our people need to hear it from me and you and whoever, deacons, whoever's leaders around here, teachers. When we do, something does happen that exceeds even what we thought.
Yeah.
And we need to brag on God about it.
Absolutely.
Because if you didn't expect it, you might have kind of halfway hoped for something greater than what you.
There's been so many things to, and I won't go through the list of them, but I can think of 3 or 4 big things that we would sit around and talk, and we'd be like, wouldn't it be nice if this happened by I don't know, throw out, and then it happens before that, and you're like, we've had, how many plans have went to the garbage can because the plans had to be reconfigured because we were thinking too small or not, broad enough. A lot of plans went in the trash because we weren't sure of what God meant by that, and then we started to find out.
Yes, and you're, like I said, people need to hear that that God did even greater work than even you expected.
Yes.
He's not going to apologize to us when he wants to do what he wants to do, and and that can be sometimes can be a hard thing because he's wanting to grow us up, or it can be such a wonderful blessing you don't even know how to speak to it. You know?
Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, it's amazing what he does.
Yes.
And just inviting us to watch it, you know.
And then to get to participate is just it's the honor of a lifetime to get to participate in a gospel church.
It is.
This side of heaven. And the people that do it, you don't hear them on their deathbed saying, I wish I hadn't have done some of that. They only say, I wish I could have been more involved.
Adrian Rogers said if he had to do it again, he'd do it bigger.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
I love it. Makes sense to me.
I mean, whatever that means for bigger.
Yeah.
But I believe he meant it.
Of course.
That, the only thing he regrets is not doing it bigger. Because, have you ever seen Adrian Rogers?
Well, I think I know where this is going, but not him in person.
His voice sounds like he's about 6'7".
Sure.
But he was a little man.
Yeah.
But boy, big man. That's a big man with a big sermon. I'm gonna tell you something, buddy. I mean,
that's true.
That was some good stuff right there.
Sometimes I'll quote him from time to time because you forget about you think that you're growing up outside of everybody else having already grown up, and you're like, actually, everybody's already had these same thoughts probably that I've had. And then you realize, oh yeah, 30 years ago, some guy in Tennessee already said and God had already, revealed these things to him, and it builds up your confidence to know other people have been through that. And like our church, other churches long before ours was, built, and, the phases of it were built, have addressed some of the similar challenges of needing to, fan the flames and make room for children, and we're here at a certain time in life, and we have God confidence that it's been done before, it can be done again, it can be done good again. We're going to try to do it good.
And understanding that, this is not Memphis.
Yeah. Right, that's a big. We've had to reckon with that a lot. You're in a certain area where population is more or less plateaued.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's being content with where God's got you, but be as excited as Adrian was.
Yeah, exactly.
In his setting, I mean, that's the thing, and wherever we find ourselves where God has sent us, then we need to be very excited about it, passionate about Him doing a work that honestly we can't do. So.
Yes. Well, that's good stuff. And hey, looking forward to Sunday. Small groups return. The majority of small groups, minus just a couple classes and if you're in that class, they'll communicate to you about when you'll start. But the majority talking about adults, students, children, preschool, nursery. All of those will begin back this Sunday, and then the following Wednesday night we'll kick back up. 20th Wednesday nights, and that's going to be exciting.
Yes, it is.
I miss it.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this thing's going to wind down, and it's aggravating to navigate, but it's I think it's helped us more than hurt us in the long run, because it you really, really, really appreciate your church.
Yep.
And you'll really be more apt to be kind of fluid about things, even though ours was used to me. So, you know what I mean? But you leave things alone that are working, is what I try to do. But you people are just going to be so thankful, and that I just think attitudes, God promises all things work together for good to them that love Him and are called.
That has to include this.
So He's going to get glory from it, and we're going to benefit. It grow us up, makes us more mature, more thankful.
Yes.
And so far, as tiring as it is to navigate it, it's still been a phenomenal year, a phenomenal time.
Still worth doing. Nothing that happened in 19 and 20 indicated to you or me that what we were doing wasn't worth doing. More of that same ministry that we found some new ways to do some things, and then we realized there's some things that are non-negotiable. They got to be there.
That's right.
And we're going to work to make sure that they stay there.
Yep.
And we hope and pray that as God blessed in the past, He'll bless in the future.
The human to human thing, you know, a human inviting somebody to church,
Yes.
and a human treating them right when they get here,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing God's doing a work, or they wouldn't. I would have never come here if God wasn't.
Rarely does a person accidentally
No.
come to church. Come
So-
on now.
And hearing the good news from the very vast majority of how well they were treated here when they came,
Yeah.
that blesses an old guy like me.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to see you guys Sunday. We do have a Wednesday night lesson that will be put out online. Same thing for Sunday, small groups, but again, they start back Sunday. So, you know, if you're in a class, come join us. You'll be
Yes.
glad that you did.
Yes.
And if you can be here and you're comfortable with being here, 2 services, 9 and 11. And
Yesterday, Sunday was
It's
good.
alright.
Sunday was good.
Yes, it was.
It was a good day.
And I think, you know, name and claiming I'm not big on doing, but I hope, I really do think this Sunday is going to be good too. So come join us. Brother Mike, if you'll pray, we'll get out of here.
Lord, thank you again for waking us up. It's a day
Yes.
you've made, and we've already rejoiced, and we are glad in it.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
are.
for using us. Though we're fallen, we're not perfect, but you've called us to be used, and thank you for doing it. Use our church. Find us faithful when you come. Thank you already what you're going to do this Sunday. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.